Oh my gosh, I'm just sitting here backstage, just gathering myself. I am so excited and nervous and just like, how long has it been? It has been 5 years since we came together to read an original story, and it feels really good and it feels really exciting. I feel like this is more than just a opportunity to get together and read something. It's a return to what built this community here on this YouTube channel, as well as a return to my own pure joy and excitement for writing. I loved The Disappearance of Vanessa Shaw. I struggled my way through that book and loved the outcome. I had so much fun with it. But this world fantasy, this is where my heart belongs forever, and it just feels so good to be here. So huge thank you to everybody who is here live, to everybody who is here on the replay. This is the beginning of hopefully what will be an epic chapter in my Shadow Demons world, and you do not have needed to read the Shadow Demons saga to understand and get this story, but this will be the beginning of a brand new story in that world called The Shadow Games. So, what I will begin reading for you guys today is Book One, A Mirror of Shadows. And just before we get started, I'll give you just a little bit of updates on how this is going to work. So, for one thing, we're going to read a new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next 4 weeks. So 3 episodes a week. If you are coming back to watch them after, so you're watching on the replay, but you don't want to hear all the chat, there will be chapters as well that you should be able to click on that will say like episode 1, and you can just click on that and it will take you straight to the reading. So if you want to catch up a little bit faster, if you are in my membership, the Broken Chapter Society, we will do a Friday breakdown every Friday afternoon after the episode is read. And I'll be taking you through deleted scenes, bonus content, some more about the characters, first look at the covers for the next book, and different things like that. So if you want to join, that will be here in the Broken Chapter Society on YouTube. So you should see a join button beside my picture down on YouTube. If you are on an app, you might not see it. So you might need to go to the browser, but that will be a little bit extra. Um, okay, another thing will be that this story will be read here on YouTube totally free. Everyone can watch it at any time. But I will also be probably next week putting the book up for pre-order. So if you are enjoying it and you want to support me and my work, you can either join the Broken Chapter Society or you can purchase the ebook. I would certainly appreciate it, but of course it's not necessary if you need to be watching this for free. So this is a good way to continue to build community and for me to give back to my community and to you all. And I hope that we really enjoy it as a group. I cannot wait for you to hear this story. But before we get started, also a little bit of content warnings as well, because I know that some of us are well aware that I tend to read or write mostly young adult content. This is more new adult. It is darker in theme. There will be some violence. These are death games. So imagine Gladiator and everything you would see in Gladiator or the Hunger Games, but a little bit dialed up. There will be some bloody scenes. It's not going to get completely gory, but there are some things that might be a little bit scary if you're listening with young children. So like I would not read this book to Evie, for example. In terms of the genre, this is a portal fantasy, a romantasy. There will not be, I kind of mentioned this earlier, there will not be any spicy scenes read aloud on YouTube, but there may be some spicy scenes in the final book that don't appear here on YouTube. So just to let you know that, also in case you were going to buy this for your teen or anything like that. So there will be a little bit more of a 18 plus, at least 16 plus, I would say, vibe to this. But if you are not into violence, there's also death of a loved one here towards the beginning. Vanessa pauses sleeping, yes, because I didn't want her to distract me. But that's just a little bit about this, a little bit of warning for anybody who might be a little more sensitive to those things or is used to just My Beautiful Demons type style where there is still violence. I feel like there's still some violence there. We've got wars, we've got different things happening, but this gets just a little bit darker. So I wanted to put a warning out for that. But today's chapter is going to take about 20 minutes to read. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the reading. I cannot believe it. George is not on chat. He is picking up our kids from school, but he might be in the car line paying attention over there. Spicier than Sacrifice Me, maybe a tiny bit, yes. Not a huge amount. We're not going into like massive spicy chili peppers, but we will get probably a little spicier, but not here on YouTube. So it will be non-spicy here. So just to let you know. Also, another little bit of a caveat is, although these episodes will be edited, there probably will still be some edits that will take place before the final version, as well as because we're reading this as episodes and chapters here, there might be some extra scenes that would slow down the pace for reading that will appear in the book. So the ebook, the paperback will be slightly different than what we're reading here, but I'm so excited to read this. I did see that people were asking about the cover art. The cover art for this book is the final cover art for this book that will be on the paperbacks, and it was done by Raven, who also did my entire Shadow Demon saga, all of Sacrifice Me, all of my Eternal Sorrows series, and the majority of my books have been done by the same artist, Raven. Okay. I will also be, each time we read, giving away a copy of the pages that I have read with a little bit of annotation on them as well. So I'm actually going to set that up real quick before I forget. And of course, you can enter at any point during, but also you can enter right now. So I'm going to just set it up to say hashtag, we'll say hashtag episode 1 with a number. I'll type it out. Hashtag episode 1 with the number as you see here on the screen. That will be a chance for you to win, and it won't keep you from winning other giveaways, but it will just be something fun for you to keep, is the printed pages with a little bit of notes and signed from me if you would like to keep that. I know some of you still have your pages from when we read The Witch's Key. So, okay. Got to get myself into character. I am so excited. And I hope you know truly how grateful I am for each one of you for being here, live, replay, however you're finding this, even if it's years later and you're watching replays, because I know people are still discovering The Witch's Key. Yeah. I'm super, super excited. This episode is going to, if you have read the Shadow Demon saga, you're going to see some tie-ins immediately. If you haven't, hopefully it will make you want to go back and read those. And if you do want to read those, you can grab the first 3 books free. It's called The Beautiful Demons, is called the first book. And yeah, let's get going. Okay. Whew. Deep breaths, deep breaths. This is episode 1. Welcome to the Shadow World. The last thing my mother ever did was beg me to run. I'd always been a rebellious child, never doing as I was told, always causing trouble. And even then, as her final breath crossed her lips, I refused to obey. Instead, I crouched behind the door, watching through the crack as a woman my mother had once trusted knelt on her back. Up close, she had looked human enough, but tonight, the edges of her hands blurred into smoke, and the extra dagger at her hip breathed shadow. She slid the blade across my mother's throat like someone playing a violin, elegant and practiced. Hot tears burned a river of sorrow down my cheeks as I watched her blood spread over the scratched hardwood. I couldn't just stand there and watch. With fists pressed against my mouth, I eyed the dagger on this demon's hip, calculating the distance between us. Could I reach it fast enough? I was 5 at the time and small for my age. I knew how to vanish in a room, how to make a step no one heard. She'd never see me coming. So what if I died too? What was the point in living if I had to be alone? But my mother's emerald eyes held mine through the crack, begging me to go even as the spark of life drained from them. All of this is worth nothing if you don't survive, she'd told us over and over. Your lives are worth a dozen of mine. Right now, though, watching as my older sister Trista struggled desperately against the man who held her arms, I didn't feel like I was worth much. I felt helpless, weak, afraid when I should have been strong. I wanted to save them, but it was already too late. Trista's scream echoed through me as the demon who had called my mother her friend stood and raised the shadowy dagger once again. I turned away, unable to watch. Ashamed, I obeyed my mother's wishes and I ran, abandoning the only family I'd ever known, to death. And now, exactly 13 years to the day, I was running again. This time from a different enemy, more subtle but just as dangerous. On the surface, Peakwood Home for Troubled Girls was a dream. Gardens, trails, a pool. Underneath, it was a training ground for a sinister group of witches called the Order of Shadows. They took me in at 10, after I'd already bounced through foster care. They saw more than a girl with sticky fingers. They saw what I could do. Disappear into shadows, move silently across a room, slip through walls. At first, I was grateful. They gave me a bed, meals, a place to belong. But belonging came at a cost. The jobs got darker, more dangerous, and no amount of protest on my part had convinced them to ease up on the darkness. Tonight, on my 18th birthday, they'd bind me to the order forever, not as a person who truly belonged, but as a tool to be used. I wasn't about to let that happen. I grabbed my bag from under the bed, hands trembling. I didn't have much time. I wasn't even supposed to know about the ceremony in the first place, but when you could practically disappear, you sometimes discovered things no one ever meant for you to know. Once I saw what they intended to do to me, I knew I had to go, no matter the risk. The door burst open, nearly giving me a heart attack. My best friend Maggie pushed her way inside, her dark curls teased into soft feathered waves that framed her face. Her oversized sweatshirt was tucked into high-waisted jeans, and a collection of friendship bracelets adorned her wrists. "Happy birthday," she said, smiling at first, until she noticed the bag on my bed. "You aren't seriously planning to go through with this. If they find out, Bex, they won't. They'll know when they come for you later and you aren't here," she argued, twisting a piece of hair around her finger. "They'll come after you. You know too many of their secrets. We all do." "I'll be long gone by then." I placed my hand on hers. "I know you're worried about me, but I'm going to be okay. I can take care of myself." "And what about me?" she asked, eyes darkening. "I can't disappear the way you can. I wouldn't know the first thing about taking care of myself. You always said we were in this together, Bex. You can't just leave me here." "You've still got a year before you're 18. I'll come back for you, and you can decide then what you want to do." I didn't want to leave her behind, but she would slow me down, put us both in danger, and I was not about to be responsible for something terrible happening to her. I quickly crossed my closet and threw an extra pair of jeans and a few t-shirts into my backpack. I'd never been as interested in clothes and style as Maggie, and I didn't have much else that I cared about. "If you have room in there for one more thing, I got you a present," Maggie said, pulling a small purple box from her pocket. All worry dropped from her eyes, replaced by a sparkle of joy as I opened it and gasped. What did you do? This must have cost a fortune. Inside, nestled against black silk, lay a dragonfly pendant wrought in silver. Its wings were etched with delicate lines, almost lace-like, and studded with tiny shards of amethyst that caught the light. It was beautiful, fragile and fierce all at once, and it awakened some distant memory. I closed my eyes, a flash of my mother's laughter sounding in my ears. I could almost feel the feather touch of her fingertips on the inside of my forearm, tracing some invisible pattern. It took my breath away, and I had to open my eyes before I got lost in it. The lady who sold it to me said it would bring you luck. I traced a fingertip over one wing. The metal was cool, but a faint warmth pulsed underneath, like a heartbeat immediately syncing with my own. A strange shiver passed through me, like I'd seen this pendant before, and it had somehow found its way back to me after all these years. But that was ridiculous, right? I'd never owned anything this valuable in my life. What lady? Where in the world did you find something like this here in town? It was at some outdoor market a few weeks ago, she said. The lady running it said she travels around doing these small shows. Apparently, she makes all her jewelry by hand. And I know it sounds wild, but it was like this piece called to me. I can't explain it. Saw it in my mind before I even saw her shop, and it was dirt cheap. She insisted you had to have it. I closed the box carefully, suddenly feeling the weight of it in more ways than I could express. Thank you, I whispered, wondering if we ever would see each other again. Maggie squeezed my hand, her smile trembling. Just don't forget to wear it tonight. Maybe it'll keep you safe. Safe. The word landed wrong in my chest. There was no safe anymore, not here. As if on cue, a rapid knock on my door threw us both into motion. I shoved my backpack under the bed as Maggie rushed to answer it. Amelia, our house mom, stood in the frame, her expression flat and unreadable. Come with me, she said. There's a job. Maggie and I froze and exchanged glances. Today? This was supposed to be our day off. Now, Amelia snapped. Maggie's fingers tightened on mine and her eyes sparked with fear. Amelia never snapped at us like that. Did she know? But that was impossible. I'd left no trace, told no one. I'd even faked diary entries about my excitement in joining the order. I'll be right down, I said, stalling. I just have to go to the bathroom. Amelia frowned. Make it quick. Meet you downstairs in 5. She shook her head. No, not downstairs. Up. Her eyes flicked toward the ceiling and my whole body went cold. Up meant the hidden 3rd floor, the hall of doorways. We were only ever taken there for official jobs, assignments from a high-ranking prima or the Amethyst priestess herself, never without warning and a few days of briefing about the tasks ahead and what was expected of us, never on a ritual day. I ducked into the bathroom, shut the door, and pressed my back against it, heart racing. Just a job, that was all. Do the work, get back home as fast as possible, then run. There would still be time. With shaking hands, I slipped the dragonfly pendant onto a silver chain I'd stolen from a prima's house a few years ago and fastened it around my neck. The amethyst wings glimmered once in the dim light before I tucked it under my shirt. I brushed my teeth in a rush, braided my thick brown waves with fumbling fingers, and shoved my bag into the closet before running to join them. Rebecca, you lead us up, Amelia said, gesturing toward the wall. To outsiders, it looked solid, but I had passed through the illusion 100 times. The tingle of its magic skated across my skin as I walked straight through, up the narrow stairs, into the 5-sided chamber. The room was silent, empty. Usually a guard or emissary waited, collars of amethyst gleaming at their throats. Tonight, there was no one. The emptiness pressed down like a warning. Amelia strode ahead and reached for the next door, the one that opened into the endless hall of doorways. The sight of it never ceased to steal my breath for a moment or quicken my heartbeat. Stretched out before us in either direction, row after row of wooden doorways, each marked with a symbol that represented the house of the prima it belonged to. Doors that, when opened, transported you to another town or country somewhere in the world in an instant. Portals I usually looked forward to. Today, though, my heart raced as Amelia, a woman who had practically raised me at Peakwood Home, led us to a door I'd never seen, its surface slick like oil. "Inside," she ordered. My breath hitched as a chilling shadow seemed to fall over me, fear tightening my chest. Jobs came with instructions and cover stories, targets. Something was wrong. Maggie shot me a nervous glance, and for an instant I considered grabbing her hand and running, taking the first door we could safely disappear into. But that was just nerves, right? There was no way the Order knew about my plans. Besides, we wouldn't make it to the next door down. Amelia was too strong, and Maggie was too slow. I just needed to stay calm, and everything would be okay. I would get us both out of this if things went bad. We stepped through the door, expecting another five-sided room like the one at Peakwood. Instead, we walked into a chamber of cool, black stone, bare but purposeful. Chains dangled from hooks along the walls. A drain ran down the center of the floor, rust-stained in a way that made my stomach turn. Instinct finally kicked in, and I turned for the door, reaching for Maggie's hand, but it was too late. Chains snapped around our wrists and ankles. The locks clicked, final as a coffin. I attempted to vanish into nothingness, but the shackles deadened my magic, making me helpless against them. I sucked in a panicked breath. This wasn't a job at all. This was an execution. Maggie had nothing to do with this. I pulled furiously against the chains. This was my plan. "I did everything you asked," Maggie shouted. "You said you'd initiate her, that I'd be rewarded." Ice crawled through my veins as I realized she wasn't talking to me. My lifelong best friend, the person I'd shared all my deepest secrets with. How could I have made the same mistake my mother made? How could I have trusted the wrong person? For a moment, the fight left my body, head spinning with grief. Maggie screamed and yanked harder against the chains. "You can't do this to me!" Amelia stepped just out of reach. "I can do anything I want to traitors." A cloaked woman entered through the interior door, holding a glistening black stone the size of a heart in each hand, shadows coiling inside. "No," Maggie whispered, eyes wide, her whole body trembling. "Not that, please." Amelia didn't even look at us as she spoke. "You should be honored to finally give something worthwhile back to the Order that raised you." The cloaked figure approached Maggie and ripped the neck of her sweatshirt open. She placed the pulsing stone on bare skin as Maggie screamed. The stone attached itself to her as threads of violet light streamed into it, her life and magic feeding the glass. Maggie's fingertips searched for mine. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek as she went limp, eyes glazing over. I lunged forward, chains rattling, the pendant she'd given me burning against my chest as anger and confusion raged through me. This wasn't happening. I couldn't bear to watch another person I loved die right in front of me as I stood helpless, even if she had betrayed me. Heat surged under my skin, a power I didn't recognize trying to break free. The cloaked figure pointed an outstretched finger at me, paralyzing my muscles with her silent command. I felt 5 years old again, vulnerable and ashamed, scared, but powerless to stop the scene unfolding before me. No matter how hard I struggled, I was powerless as she tore open the neck of my t-shirt and placed the cold stone against my skin. My pulse stuttered once, then thundered as the crystal began to drink. All the years I'd spent trying to find my place in the world had been meaningless. I was going to die here on my birthday, just like my mother and sister. The thought carved me open, and rage poured through the cracks like molten lava. I didn't hold it back this time. I fed it to the stone. Every ounce of pain, loss, and fury. Let the priestess choke on it when she consumed what was left of me. The crystal's light surged from violet to white hot. A low hum filled the room, rising, splitting the air. "Something's wrong," the cloaked woman hissed. "What is this girl's true nature? What haven't you told us about her?" The chains seared my wrists. Shadows rippled from my skin, thick as smoke. Then came the sound of shattering glass as the soul stone exploded. Shards spun outward like 1,000 tiny comets. Amelia screamed as one sliced her cheek open, another embedding deep in her shoulder. The cloaked woman lay on the ground, blood pouring from a wound I couldn't see. What was happening to me? And what did she mean, my true nature? I expected the light to fade now that the soul stone had been destroyed, but it didn't. It multiplied, magical threads like spider webs expanding through the room as time slowed and reality split in two. A rift formed before my eyes, revealing a room with shimmering violet walls. At its center stood a mirror, taller than any doorway, framed in blackened gold, the surface shifting like liquid glass. Shadows rippled inside it, too slow to be reflections, as though something lived within its depths, waiting, watching. The air between us pulsed once, hard enough to rattle the chains, and I knew, whatever that mirror was, it was calling me. But calling me to where? Freedom? It was my only escape, and yet I hesitated, unsure whether I had created this rift myself or if someone had opened it for me. The sound of boots pounded down the hall outside the interior door. Reinforcements. There would be no second chance. My mother's voice rose from memory, trembling and fierce. "Run." I reached for the mirror, the chains around my wrists and ankles shattering as I moved. The silver surface trembled, then swallowed me whole. Cold magic consumed me, twisting, crushing. My stomach lurched, and I lost touch with reality as the world flipped inside out. When the magic released me, I crashed to my knees in dust and ash. The air reeked of smoke, thick enough to burn my throat. Wind cut across the open ground, carrying the copper sting of blood. I looked up to find the mirror that brought me here was gone. Instead, 50 or so people stood in the center of an arena ringed with stone walls, staring at me with mixed expressions. Some wore battered armor made of leather and iron. Others held weapons that seemed to come from another era. Spears, swords, flails, nets. Some had mud speared across their limbs and faces. Others were wrapped with rough-edged bandages, barely holding back the flow of blood. And in the center of them all stood a man, the blade of his sword dripping crimson, a body motionless at his feet. Scars mapped the hard muscles of his arms and chest. Strands of black hair fell loose over a face too sharp to be beautiful. When he turned, storm gray eyes found mine, and the world narrowed until he was the only thing I could see. Everything in me went still, as if he'd stolen my ability to breathe. Power rolled off him, quiet and absolute. It wasn't just magic, it was something older, something that made the air bend around him, something that made every part of me tremble in fear. I needed to run, only there was nowhere to go. Where the hell had that mirror taken me? The warrior crossed the sand in 3 strides and seized me by the collar, hauling me to my feet like I weighed nothing. He was massive, all hard lines and pure strength as he towered over me. "What is this place?" I rasped, breathless. He looked me over, sharp and cold, as his gaze locked onto the amethyst pendant. For a heartbeat, something flashed in his eyes. Recognition, disgust, fear. Then the hardness snapped back into place. "This," he said, voice low and lethal, "is where you will die." He dropped me to the ground like I meant nothing. "Take her to the dungeons," he commanded. 2 guards stepped forward, grips like iron as they dragged me backward. I screamed, refusing to believe I'd avoided death only to be brought into a new nightmare. "What's happening?" I cried, my voice raw. "Is this hell?" One of the guards looked down at me with an amused smirk. "By the time this place is done with you," he said with a low laugh, "you'll wish it was only hell." He leaned toward me, eyes gleaming with cruelty. "Welcome to the Shadow Games." Dun, dun, dun. George walked into the door right as with the sound. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It's like beep, beep, beep in the alarm, house alarm. Woo, we did it. Episode 1 is here. Oh my gosh, that felt good. I hope you guys loved it. So we have made our way into the Shard. You will begin to know this place quite well. Poor Bex, poor Maggie. Obviously, if you know anything about the Shadow Demon Saga, you know that the Order of Shadows is full of cruelty and betrayal on at every turn. And hopefully you have lots of questions about how things are going. You have lots of questions about what really happened and all the things. Yeah, Sarah Hanger, hashtag. Whew, oh my goodness. There have been so many starts to this book. And, you know, with my writing, there can be good starts. There can be starts that are good enough-ish. But there's just something inside me that knows when it's what I need it to be, and I hope that you guys felt that as well. So yes, this is so good. I love it. I'm going to be so excited to read this to you. It gets pretty intense as we go. Yeah, it's going to be hopefully an adventure and quite the ride. Yeah, I did it. So now I'm probably going to be like, George, take me for coffee. Let's go. Let's go celebrate the beginning, because this is just the beginning. We have 12 episodes of book 1, A Mirror of Shadows, but the Shadow Games itself as a series will be 5 books of 12 episodes each, and I will be reading it all for free here on YouTube. So subscribe if you are just finding us. If you have friends that you know would enjoy this, that really like portal fantasy, coming of age stories, romantasy, enemies to lovers, slow burn, all of that kind of thing, then please share this with them and let's get everybody listening. I'm going to share my screen real quick and we're going to pick a winner for the giveaway, which is of these pages. And I will annotate them just a little bit and send them out to you in the mail. So when we find out who the winner is, just go ahead and Crystal, I probably have your address, but why don't you go ahead and send it to me again, please, Crystal, and I will send this out to you hopefully this week. I'll just pop it into an envelope with some stickers, and we will be giving away pages every single time. So this will only be obviously for people that are here live, but it will be a fun little extra. And of course, we have giveaways going on throughout the entire month for Spooktacular, because I think today's giveaway is a tarot deck of the Light Seers Tarot. And we also still have a few other giveaways open, like our grand prize giveaway, which is the entire collection of my paperbacks, my backlist paperbacks, as well as another grand prize giveaway for the entire backlist of my ebooks. And then we've got more and more to come. I believe Wednesdays or maybe early next week is the Thriving Author Bundle. So if you are an author that has been wanting to take Publish and Thrive, that will be an option. Inside the Broken Chapter Society, I'm giving away 2 one-on-one private Zoom calls with me where we can talk about literally anything. We can talk about story. I can help you with your story, literally anything that you want. Yes, so this is a good question. So George and I are going to set up a new channel inside the Discord server to discuss this story, to talk about it. And you are welcome to put spoilers there. It will be a spoiler channel. Obviously, nobody knows what happens next to spoil the rest of it except me, but you guys can talk about this in the future or as we go and we're reading along. Also, remember that we will be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you want to come back, but you want to just get straight to the episode, there will be chapters that you can just click on the episode in the chapters for YouTube and go straight to it. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, if you're in the Broken Chapter Society, you will actually be able to get this in print format. Like I'm going to post it on my blog in a secret space so that you guys can read it. Because I know sometimes listening to it, some people want to read through it again. So I will post that link as soon as it's ready. I did not have time to get it done today, but it'll all be up by Wednesday. Yes, if you enter to win Publish and Thrive, you can gift it to a friend if you would like to. Oh, there's already a Mayor of Shadash channel. Yeah, so we must have already done that. I'm not opening a new one. There will just be that one. Yeah, the kids can come in if they want to say hello. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, new favorite weekday combo. Oh my gosh, that felt good. The giveaways will be, I'll give you a tool, like a word to use at the beginning. Today's was #episode1. Oh my goodness. Where's Evie? Where are you, little one? Who remembers back in the day when Evie would come in after the witch's key and she was just this tiny little like 5-month-old baby in my lap, and Andrew was probably closer to Evie's size. He was like 7, I think, back then. Now you can't even see him. He's taller than me, my teenager over here.
Because you're sitting down.
Well, yes, but also when I'm standing up. And I have this cute little ghost earring, and it fell off right as I started reading somehow.
No, give it back.
So
that
was funny.
Give it back.
I will give it back. Let me put the back of the earring on it. Did you have a good day at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found this cool rock called a metadite.
A metadite?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thing that's metal, and it's a diamond.
Oh,
but
well, you have to show it to me. Did you bring it home?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that is it for the earring falling off. Is it a sign? Oh, yeah. Evie in the Sardine era is so true. We are back to we are back to readings. I cannot wait to share the rest of this story with you and who Bex is as a person. I think you're going to love her. I think you're going to love this world. It's brutal, but it's also really, really fascinating. Next week, we will actually meet a character that a winner of last year's Name a Character contest named Lavender. So that's going to be really fun. We'll get to meet that character in the dungeons. And yeah, I cannot wait. So I will see you all on Wednesday for episode 2. Be sure to mark your calendars. It's on the Spooktacular calendar. This week we have Wednesday and Friday. Oh, Hello Kitty is floating through. Actually, that looks pretty good, George. That's pretty convincing. Hello Kitty's joining us. So Wednesday will be episode 2. Thursday night we'll play Silent Hill late night sprints from 10 to midnight Eastern time, and then Friday we will be back for episode 3, and then on Sunday Broken Chapter Society reading sprints again.
For the last one.
No, we gotta go. You could tell them on Wednesday. All right, you guys. Hello Kitty Ghost gave you a heart attack. Oh, I'm just going to be smiling for the rest of the day. Thank you guys for giving me this platform and this opportunity to read the story that I have just poured my whole year into. And I'm so excited for what's yet to come. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you. I'll see you on Wednesday.